What's up, guys? I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of resistance making this video, maybe the most resistance out of all my videos for some reason. And I think part of the reason, at least, is that I know how much short guys identify with being a victim. I know how much people in general identify with being a victim, but especially short guys. And you can try to tell them that despite being short, they can use that to their advantage. They can do really, really, really well with girls, much better than all their friends who are a lot taller than them, all that type of stuff. And a lot of people just identify with that identity and they just refuse to accept it. Well, for me, I am around 5'7" on a good day, like I said earlier in a different video. If I'm wearing some kind of shoes, not that I try to be tall, but certain shoes, I'm around 5'7". Other shoes, maybe less than that, even maybe 5'6". But it doesn't matter to me. Like, I wear flat Vans and flat shoes for the most part. And you got to learn how to overcome your insecurity when it comes to being short. You got to learn that, because otherwise you're not going to make any progress. And you got to not only learn it, but embrace it, completely embrace it, and just be completely comfortable in your own skin and in who you are as a dude. And I will give you a few things, a few ideas to make you sort of believe in that, or help you believe in that, that it's not sort of not a limiting factor. It can be used to your advantage, 100% being short. And I know nowadays social media and YouTube and all these podcasts and all these girls are like, oh, I want a tall guy, I want a tall guy, I want a tall guy. Reality isn't doesn't play out exactly how people think it's going to play out. It's absolutely fascinating to me how reality really plays out. And it's absolutely fascinating to me how I will go out to a place and girls will be much more attracted to me, a 5'7" dude, than they are to a 6'4" dude, who is good looking, by the way. And the reason behind that is because I'm just more comfortable in my skin and I'm just more fun to be around. Um, I know you can't tell by my voice and my monotone sort of expression when it comes into these videos, but anyway. All right, so let's go step by step, guys, and hopefully, this video helps some of you guys overcome your mental block. Okay. First of all, look at all your shortcomings besides height. No pun intended. Anyway, look at all your shortcomings. Okay, go look in the mirror. If you're pudgy, if you're fat, if you have whatever going on for you, if your hygiene is off, if your beard is off, if your hair is off, fix it. Fix whatever you can fix and just try to look the best you can look, and not necessarily the best you can. What I'm trying to say is make your own look for yourself, right? You don't have to be the best looking dude. My friend is maybe 1 inch taller than me and definitely not as good looking as me in terms of facial symmetry and all that type of stuff, and he is always dating models. And when I say models, I mean like models, like real models, really good looking women. So height is not height is not a limiting factor, or shouldn't be a limiting factor, and just focus on other stuff. Focus on having, like Richard Cooper says in his videos, a dude with a V taper. A woman will prefer a dude with a V taper, meaning the shoulders are 2 times the size of the hips. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but the shoulders are 2 times the width of the hips. They will prefer a guy who's short with a V taper for the most part over a guy who's 6'4" and pudgy. Just looks wise, just based on purely looks, besides everything else that comes into play, right? A second part to this is, so first part is overcome your shortcomings, right? Fix your shortcomings, fix whatever you can fix your dressing style, have a style to yourself, fix that part, and that'll play a huge role. Trust me, that'll play a huge role. Second part is role models. It's very helpful to see short dudes who are extremely successful with girls, especially as a short dude, because you can model your life around those people. Because I feel like tall guys have a lot of examples of tall guys who are attractive, right? Short guys do too, like Robert Downey Jr., like a young Al Pacino, a young what, I don't know, I can't remember right now, but there are some short dudes who do really, really well with girls, right? famous short dudes too. And I feel like I got lucky really early because my dad is short and he's really cool. And I saw how people in society respected him and thought he was really cool. And then I also got lucky because when I went to high school, the high school that I went to, the dude who was most popular with girls was a dude who was around my height and just a skinny sort of dude around my height. All the girls in the school dressed really nice, had some money. His family had some money. Just super chill dude. Just walked around, super chill. Had a bunch of friends, super popular. Most people obviously taller than him, but no one noticed because he was such a big presence. And girls were all over him all the time. They would go to his house for parties all the time. They'd be all over him all the time. Super attractive dude and super sought after from the girls. The other dude who was super sought after was a dude who had this aura around him as a badass in school. And he was around, I want to say around 15 at the time, or we were around 15 at the time in school. And this dude was jacked. Like his shoulders were huge. He had that V taper down to a T, huge shoulders. He was around 5'3", 5'4". And I know that sounds super short, but this dude, definitely shorter than me, 100%. Maybe 5'4", 5'5", I don't know, but definitely shorter than me. And this dude, for whatever reason, he liked me. He called me over one day, and not to digress too much, but he called me over one day and he said, "Hey, you want to come over to my house party?" And I'm like, "I don't know, dude. Like, I have things going on tonight or whatever." And he said, "It's gonna be in the mountains, and I'm inviting a few girls." And then the hottest girl in school walks up to him while I'm talking to him, walks up to him, and she's all giddy and all that type of stuff, and she calls him by his name. And she's like, "Oh, I'm super excited to come to the party." And then two other girls walk up, two other girls who were popular as well and really good looking. They walk up to him and they're like, "Oh, we're super excited to go to the party." And I'm like, "Who else is going to the party?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm not inviting a lot of guys, just you and like one other dude or something." And there were like maybe 10 of the hottest girls going to this guy's house in the mountain. And I'm sure that they were all over him and they were super attracted to him. And all throughout school, he had this aura to him where he was like this badass dude. And he was super short, super respected by all the dudes. He was the alpha basically in the school. So I did have the whole. This was the second part, the role models. I was lucky enough to have the role models. I was lucky enough to see that short dudes can make it really, really big, right? The third thing is to use your height to your advantage. And when I say that, maybe I should use the fourth point before the third point, make it your look. But anyway, use your height to your advantage. So when I say that is, if you're a tall, good-looking dude, right, and you walk into an elevator, and there's a really hot girl in that elevator, there's two possibilities here, right? She might try to preserve her ego and look away. She might and act like she's better than you or whatever, or you might act like you're better than her or be shy or whatever. And she's like, she's there's not a lot of intrigue when it comes to that, right? She's gonna think, oh, this is a tall, good-looking dude. Maybe he thinks he's all that or whatever. I disagree with it. Whatever it is. There's not a lot of intrigue in that. But when a short dude walks into the elevator and there's a super hot, good-looking girl who's maybe even taller than him, and he's just like just vibing, just looking around, I've noticed that that is a huge advantage because girls now there's intrigue. And I know this sounds silly or this sounds weird, but I've had so many girls actually see that and they wonder like, oh, why is this dude not like looking at me? And it takes like a few times walking into the elevator. And if they're that type of personality, if they're the type of personality that's gonna approach or whatever, if they're not, well, if they're that type of personality, they will hit you up at some point, and it'll be really weird because this hot girl who noticed you walking into the elevator a few times, and she knows that you don't care what she thinks, and you're just vibing, and you're just chilling, and she's like, "Oh, why is this short dude think he's so much better than me?" She is gonna sort of approach you, and that's how I've met a lot of girls during my dating phase, or at least three or four girls, literally in the elevator, just because of the fact that we just crossed paths so many times. And some of them will, at least two of them have, one of them just opened up and said, "Oh, hey, you want to check out my TikTok?" Randomly, completely randomly. Hey, you want to check out my TikTok? Showed me her TikTok. We started talking, and obviously I'm good at vibing and talking, and then we ended up going on a date. And another one, I forget how the conversation was initiated, but it was something regarding the gym. I feel like, and I was sort of going to the gym, just like vibing. And it was like the third or fourth time she was on the same lives close to me on the same floor. Ended up in the elevator together, and she sort of opened up a conversation about the gym or something. And I ended up getting her number, and we also ended up hanging out at some point. And then the other two, I'm trying to remember, but I feel like I said, "Hey, what's up?" or something like that, and we ended up also having a conversation. And some of them will even tell you, I've noticed this a lot, especially if I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but especially the older women will tell you, like, "Oh, I've noticed you," or they'll say something along those lines. "Oh, I've seen you a few times. I've seen you with whatever, with your dog, or I've seen you with whatever." So use it to your advantage because it will create intrigue. If you're walking around as a short dude, looking, feeling like vibing and feeling cool, they're gonna think like, "Oh, this dude must have like a huge, huge secret he's hiding because why is he so conceited as a small dude walking around, right?" And I've had so many girls on Tinder dates call me literally that. That we'd meet up and they'd say, "Oh, I didn't imagine you'd be so small in size," and never phased me whatsoever. The next part is make it your look. All right, I'm not deluded, guys. I'm not thinking like, oh, it's really um, cool that I'm 5'7", right, or 5'6", or whatever. I'm not thinking like, oh, um, if I could pick any height, it would be that. I'm not deluded, right? I've seen dudes in South Beach, in Miami Beach, and I've seen a dude who was 6'7", jacked, probably 6'7". I'm just taking a guess here. Jacked, like looks like Deontay Wilder walking through South Beach, and all these girls were like touching on him, and he had to like push them away, sort of, and be like, "Hey, don't touch me," or something. He said something along those lines. And this dude was used to girls touching on him because of his physique and because of his size, right? So I'm not deluded. I'm not here saying like, "Oh, this is the perfect height" or any of that stuff. But what I am saying is you can make it your look. You can take advantage of the fact that you're this height and have a certain look to you. And usually, I'm not even gonna lie, it's I've noticed a lot for a lot of smaller dudes, for a lot of shorter dudes, the look is the nice dressed look, right? And I'm not saying suits or any of that stuff. I'm saying like you have a nice style to you, like you're dressed with a nice style with nice clothing, like brand names and stuff like that. And that's what I've noticed makes up a lot for all the height stuff, and no one really cares about that as long as you look like good, well put together, and you look like you're exercising, and you look well put together in terms of clothing, and you sort of made the whole quote unquote short or small thing your look. People will not focus on your height at all because now they're sort of you have an aura to you of a good looking guy or a guy who has style or whatever, and that aura will overcome the whole height thing. Like people won't even it's kind of crazy, but people won't even like notice your height too much because you're not paying attention to it and they're not paying attention to it. And for a lot of you short dudes, I don't know if you guys experience this at all, but have you ever like drank and gotten to a point where you're tipsy and then you're walking around a club and you feel taller? That is sort of the vibe that you need to be in all the time. You just feel like there's no difference in height between you and a dude who's 6'2" or 6'4" or whatever. That is the vibe that you need to be in all the time because that is how you need to feel about yourself because height really does not matter that much, right? Despite of what society is telling you, it's all, and this is my last point here, it's all life can be summed up, especially dating game can be summed up with mentality and mind games. And as long as I'm not saying delude yourself or any of that stuff, I'm not saying be delusional, but these are the cards that you're handed, and it's not that big of a deal, dude. Trust me, it's not that big of a deal. If you have other attributes, those are so much more important than being 6'4" or 6'7" or 6'6" or whatever. unless you don't have those other attributes, right? If you're some loser and you're 6'6" or 6'7", and you walk out, some girl might like you just because you're 6'7", right? But if you're a loser and you're 5'5", then that's going to be more difficult for a girl to like you just because you're 5'5", right? Even though some girls have that sort of quote unquote fetish, but but that being said, if you're a dude who just like takes responsibility and takes the steps necessary, you can overcome that by a long, long, long shot. And even the dude who's 6'7", who's working on himself, all that type of stuff, and you're 5'5" and you're working on yourself and all that type of stuff. First of all, you're not going to be in competition because both of you are going to look at each other and be like, "Oh, this is a badass," and he's going to think the same of you, even though you're a lot shorter. Doesn't matter. He's going to notice a badass when he sees one. But even if you were in competition with each other for a girl or whatever, there's other factors that are going to play a role besides the height thing. A lot of other factors, trust me. Even if you're in direct competition with a model who's 6'8" or whatever. And what are the chances of that happening? But anyway, um, and I can't say 6'8" because I haven't been in direct competition for a girl with a dude who's 6'8", but I have been out with some of my friends or colleagues, and they're 6'4", and some of them extremely good looking, like model good looking girls obviously attracted to them. Like if I show girls their Instagram, they'll be attracted to them immediately. And I've been out with them, and even during our night out, I was like joking around with them and stuff. And this dude who's like extremely attractive, 6'4", no, anyway, 6'4", and he says something along the lines of, he calls me like a manlet or something along those lines, and I just let it brush it off my shoulder. I say a joke back to him or whatever, make fun of his shoes or something, forget what it was, and then or I laugh at it. I don't even remember what I did, but I didn't really care too much. And then later in the night, he's looking at me with the girls that came with him, and the girls that came with him are like all over me, and that's just because I'm so comfortable in my skin and so chill. Um, so anyway, life can be summed up like you would not believe how much mentality plays a role in every single aspect of life, especially since people aren't playing it at a high level, right? That 6'4" dude who's model looking or whatever, he's not really that interested in being super intelligent. He's not really interested in being super witty. He's not really interested in being super um, exciting to the girls or any of that stuff. So girls will hook onto me really quick because I do have those other attributes. Girls notice those attributes. They notice a guy who's a winner pretty quick. And then this is the last thing I want to say is just test it out in the real world. Go out and just deal with people within social settings. I'm not saying go out and be a weirdo and hit on every girl or whatever. Just do the best that you can with what you have. Fix yourself as much as possible, and do not limit yourself because of your height. Do not do that because you can you can make yourself shorter or you can make yourself taller depending on your mentality. Trust me. And this is not delusional thinking. This is A, posture, and B, your social cues within society, like the way you carry yourself, the way you hold your shoulders, the way you stand, the way you speak, the space you take up, all that type of stuff, how comfortable you are with yourself, how how just like happy you are and like just like living life and just express it, all that type of stuff coming from me, all that type of stuff matters, right, in the real world. And just don't limit yourself because of your height at all, because I've accomplished so many things. I've accomplished so much at 5'7" with shoes. At 5'6", let's go with 5'6", right? I've accomplished so much, especially within the dating world. I've dealt with the most beautiful woman. I've dealt with so many women within, like, I have a video out there that says how I got like hooked up with 10 girls from Tinder in 2 weeks or something. Probably can do a lot more than that if I'm less selective even. So anyway, I don't know if you guys enjoy these videos. I have no idea. If you do, please like and subscribe and ask me for more. This is not the main goal of the channel, obviously. I'm not a dating coach. I'm not like claiming to be a dating coach. I just want to give some glimmer of real hope, like legit. Not. I'm not trying to fake give you fake hope. I'm not trying to give you fake promises. I want to tell you the truth, and the truth is you can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish regardless of your height as a dude. Now, I don't know if you're 4'9". I don't know any dudes who are 4'9". I don't know if dating is easy for a 4'9" dude. I would assume not, right? But I'm saying within a certain height limit, like I'm 5'6", right? Or 5'7", whatever. And like that has not limited me whatsoever. So I don't really like the whole excuse game. I don't really like any of that. Just use whatever disadvantages you have to your advantage, right? Flip them into an advantage. Flip everything into an advantage. Anyway, dudes, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. If you stuck to the end, please like and subscribe. And I hope this gets at least a couple of views. Peace out.